Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Next Level Sound Music Composition, Art, and Technology podcast. My name is Kristen Hevner, and I'm here with my lovely co-host, Natalia Rakovsky, tech and music genius. You are the one I call all the time. I have you on speed dial for every time my computer's falling apart. It's always Natalia.
You're not the only one, although you're one of the people who's under the age of 80. So.
Yeah, I wear that badge. All right. I love it. Yes. So we are here. We have our podcast all about our art and our creativity and how it mixes with our technology. I am extra excited for our special guest today. I have personally known him for, 20 years so far? I think, counting, something of that sort.
Something wild, yeah.
Something wild like that. He is a captivating Broadway opera legend. He just commands the stage. Just live, everything on the live stage is just coming off. I'm going to say this again because this is a heavy one. Just coming off winning a Grammy. I'm just going to say that again. Winning, not nominated. Back that one up. Winning a Grammy for Best Opera Recording. Bravo, bravo.
Thank you.
And one of my favorite quotes that has been thrown out there in the press of you, a true stage animal.
Grr.
Should be a tattoo. Just saying. I'm going to put it up there. Give it up for one of my favorite people on earth, Mr. Zachary James.
Hey, girl.
Hey.
No, you're my fave. 'Cause you got me in opera. You wrote the first opera I was ever in. So
yeah. So fun fact, we met at an audition.
Yeah, 2004.
Was it 2004? Yeah. See.
Yeah. So that we're 18 years now.
Okay, we're 18 years. It's our 18th anniversary.
We're legal age. We can smoke cigarettes together.
We're adults
in some states.
You can vote.
Yep.
Yeah.
We can drive a tractor in North Dakota.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I think you can be 11 to do that, actually.
Probably. Yeah. I feel like I think you can probably be super young with that one. So I highly suggest for anybody who's listening to go to Zachary James' website because there is 1,001 shows that you have been in. But a couple things. You were in the Tony Award-winning Lincoln Center revival of South Pacific. Correct?
Yes.
You were Lurch in Addams Family on Broadway. Yeah.
That's my job. Yes.
Then you also have some TV. You have 30 Rock. You have Law and Order. You have Murphy Brown. You have a ton of those. You also have Quorum Boy, right? That was the other Broadway show, right?
Yeah. My first Broadway show. Yeah.
Yep. Then you have Nashville Opera, Philly Opera.
Yeah.
Love the Philly Opera one that you were in. Just every opera that is there, Zach's probably been in it. About that way. And let's talk about what you're currently doing now. Currently at the Met for the revival of Philip Glass's Akhenaten.
Yep.
When was the first one? 2 years?
2019 was the first one at the Met, and we.
It was right before COVID, right?
Yeah. But we premiered this production in London in 2016, and this is our 5th time doing it in total, which is wild.
And you did it in Italy? No, where was it?
London twice.
Spain? No, where else was it?
LA.
LA, that's where it is. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're back at the Met.
Back at the Met, the opera, not the museum.
Right.
We'll get confused.
It's true.
I've learned that recently. You're like, I'm trying to find tickets to your show, and there's nothing about it on the website.
Oh no, really?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. And this is the other one. So did you get to go to the Met Gala because you worked there?
Oh no.
Baby. Yeah. So we're trying to raise awareness. There's this place called the Metropolitan Opera, a little theater downtown.
Just a tiny one.
Yeah.
Just tiny.
Yeah. It's yeah, grassroots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Grassroots. And one thing that I love too, and this will segue us into the other side of what we want to talk about, is you stayed strong and never let anybody pigeonhole you into only being opera, only being Broadway. And now I feel like you're not even letting anybody pigeonhole you into being like a live artist versus a recording artist, because I do feel that there's a lot of people who can be amazing recording artists, but you put them on stage and they kind of fall flat.
Yeah.
And no judgments, but like that kind of can happen. And there's an assumption that because you can sing and dance and be on the stage that, well, obviously using microphones is so easy and what's the difference, and it's got to be easy, or vice versa. I can sing really well in the recording studio, so it's going to be super easy for me to go dance and do a whole Britney Spears tour. And the two do not really go together. They're really different skills. And one skill doesn't give you the other skill. You kind of have to work at it. It's a different, animal, so to speak. And I do think people sort of more often just sort of expect if you do one, you do the other.
Yeah. Well, and there's also, on the flip side of that, there's so much criticism about our pop artists. And it's just like, what you like, excuse me, you've never been on like a 2-year tour where you're performing in a different city every night, carrying an entire show, dancing, being a fashion icon, etc. So like, don't tell me that they're not working hard because, they might be singing to a track one night or whatever. It's like, that's a whole different animal.
Agreed.
And it should not be compared. And really, not even it shouldn't be compared, but we should be building bridges between all of them and stuff about all genres at the same time. Agreed.
Preach.
Amen.
Yes. Amen. Yes.
Take me to church.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, you said recording. I mean, you were a big part of me getting into recording in the pandemic because we got together and made The Raven.
Yes, we did.
Your 20-minute solo opera musical performance art piece film.
Yes.
And we don't know what
at
it is.
12 to 1 a.m. every night.
Music video. Yeah.
Yes, check out the music video.
Hell yes. The Raven.
The Raven. Zach James, music video. Look at that wig.
That wig. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And you were saying, about the boxes. It was making me think like one of the big things I'm working on right now while doing an opera at the Metropolitan Opera is I'm home doing this like 10-minute mega mashup of Drake's Fake Love and Halsey's Bad at Love.
Yes. I heard the snippets. Yes.
Yeah. I've been working on it for like a month now.
It's amazing. Well, you also wrote like 7 albums during the pandemic.
I was bored. And it was the only, I mean, it was like how I stayed alive. Honestly, it was like a survival thing mentally. I was just like, must keep creating.
And we had to adapt. I mean, all 3 of us, we really, and everybody, we had to adapt how we created music. I mean, I think there was such a sense of like going to the recording studio, doing the guitar lick, 16 times, then adding the drums and then adding the vocal. You had this sort of thing of that's what you did. And all of a sudden we were recording not together in completely different, apartments, houses, places. Yet we were able to, we really had to be open to rewriting how we write music, And I think that was a huge thing of like, if you tried to do it the way you always did it, it could be too frustrating. And it also couldn't happen. Everything was closed. So I think the fact of like being open to like, we had no score for The Raven. Get a load of that one.
Best.
It's it's crazy. I don't like there was always a score. You wrote something, there's a score, there's some sort, You put it in Dorico, you put it in Sibelius, you put it in something, and you hand somebody the score. And there was no score. It was all technology of using voice memos, going back and forth with how we liked it. Yeah. And, it was a totally different way of writing. And I think, I hope it inspires people to not feel like they have to write music in a certain way anymore, And if you don't want to write a score, don't. If you want to write a score and then put it in, do it. Voice memos, whatever. I think there's so many things out here now that we don't have to feel like there's one way to do it or one DAW or one thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And that sort of, loops us into the tech side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, question for you, Zach. Had you previously done any home recording, like in your own space, prior to COVID?
No.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I think a lot of people did that. I think it gave us all an opportunity to work on sort of our pet projects and things that nobody had time to do. And it kind of made us reevaluate what was important in life and that we wanted to do these things and take some risks and everything. So can you tell me a little bit more about that experience? Had you done anything in terms of, not only microphone selection, but software and, did you have a computer already and all that stuff set up, or was it sort of a learning process as you went?
It was a big learning process. I started super basic. I had a laptop and GarageBand, and that was really it. Mm-hmm. So I bought my first microphone, which was not the best in the world. And that's how I recorded my first album. And then I moved on, and now I have the Shure SM7, what I'm speaking to you on now.
Yes.
Sexy. I love it.
It's amazing.
It's those deep notes.
My best friend. So I definitely, it was a big old process, and I really didn't know anything about mixing or mastering or literally anything. So I've learned so much. And that was one of the big takeaways. Like when we started going back to live venues, I was like, well, hold up. I basically just got a, self-taught master's degree in recording. So in these 2 years, so I got to keep going. So then I was like, what if I make a dream pop album? What if I make a folk album? And I just kept going. And people are like, what's wrong with you? Stop. No one's asking for these albums every month.
They're so good. They're so good.
It's for me.
Go to Spotify and check them out.
Well, now you're inspiring me because I've been wanting to do a jangle pop covers of yacht rock songs album for a long time. So
you better, every great idea starts as a joke, so you watch out.
I just don't know that anybody really needs that except for me, for my own needs.
I love it. We all need it.
You do need it. Yeah.
Yes, we need it.
And that's the thing, like in this pandemic, because, my whole career was like dependent on someone hiring me and a venue being open. And when those two things disappeared, it was like, whoa, who am I as an artist? What is my voice when someone's not paying me to sing and I'm not expected to sound a certain way? And then all of a sudden, all these preconceived notions and I had on myself, like just melted away. And I'm suddenly like, printing out pop charts and stuff and like just moving into new directions. And I really grew as a singer and a musician in the past 2 years because of that. Because I'll say, like, previous to this experience recording, I always, and I said this all the time, like in a very matter-of-fact way, but I was like, mine is not a recording voice. Mine's a live voice because it's not pretty. It does cool things, but it's just really for the live experience because it's not perfect. And it was kind of like astonishing to think back and how I put my own self in a box and then to strip all that away and be like, oh, I sing higher than I thought I did. My voice moves in ways that I didn't know it could. My voice, like when it goes breathy, it like almost sounds appropriate for pop music. So there's all these things I discovered about myself that were really, really beautiful and valuable. And had we not had that 2 years off, and this luxurious amount of time, I wouldn't have discovered that. So I'm really grateful.
Mm-hmm. And before settling on the Shure SM7B, you said you'd made a mistake of a purchase. What was that?
It wasn't a mistake. It was just like, it was a tricycle before I got my motorcycle.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I had I don't even know how to say the Apogee.
The Apogee.
Apogee Mic Plus. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, a USB mic. My whole thing was like, I need a little mic that I can plug into my computer. So that's what I got. And it was, a few $100 and it did me well. The first thing I did with it, I sang America the Beautiful on the news for like the frontline workers with that mic. First gig with it.
It's amazing. What a song for that. It's got such a range,
Yeah, it was intense too. And it was just like I think it was my first time singing in the pandemic. Like it was very early on, and this news station contacted me like, hey, we're doing a song every night. Can we have you on, sing anything you want? And I was like, yeah, let's go patriotic and just like sing something for our frontline workers, you know?
Yes.
And it sounded good. And I was like, oh, okay, I got a thing going here. I can sing, you know, and then I started doing like, Corona Karaoke Cafe or some crazy shit. I invented up. And I was like singing Tony Bennett in the basement with like sequins, you know, and it just, and now here we are, and I've progressed. But
gotcha.
Yeah.
So moving from a USB microphone then to an XLR based one, you had to then go to a different audio interface. Was that also a fun experience to figure all that out?
It was, and I know what an interface is now too.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's good.
Yes.
Wow, that's great.
Yes. Audio interface.
Yeah. What's it called? I have the Scarlett.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody has that pretty much. Yep.
It's pretty. It's red.
Yes, that's important.
It does good stuff.
Yeah, cool. No,
it has a gain knob, you know.
Yes. That's important. To segue to another question for you, because I don't consider myself a great singer. I'm not really a vocalist. I'm more of an instrumentalist. But when I do have to record myself something, whether it's a scratch vocal for someone, I end up having the microphone panic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I get there and I as soon as I hit record, like tense up and I freak out, and then I do all the stuff that's not good for being able to produce good sound. Do you have any tips for people listening on how to sort of fight that, even if you're alone at home and, you know, there's no one around, but you're still kind of, you know?
Yeah. You know what? It's a matter of like patience and self-acceptance. And for me, I do so many takes, and I realize that as part of my process, my first like 10 takes are just practice. And it's for me to listen back to myself and hear what I don't like, and then go back in and fix it. And it's like only one thing at a time can I handle that way. So I just keep going back in, and I'm like, okay, I was a little flat in that section. Let's redo that. Oh, can't take a breath there. Oh, you're going to run out of a breath there. And then like, oh, that P plosive is unacceptable. Let's go back and do that. You know, it's little things. So it's like listening with a fine ear, and just not being really hard on yourself, but just being like, oh, cool. And what could I do better? And then redo it, you know, but it takes a quadrillion takes sometimes.
Yeah. And are you listening in between each and every take, or are you laying down a bunch and then going back kind of thing? Are you kind of cycling and sort of recording?
It depends on where my brain's at. I'm not.
Got it.
That is, I'm very artist brain. So it's like finger painting and, you know.
You did both when we did Raven. There was some times where you would send me like 3 takes in one take, where it was like you would just do it over again, you take a breath, you do it over again, you take a breath. And then there were some times where it was like, here's a take, we would both listen back, we would say blah, 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 and you would do another. So I think even having both of those in your pocket is a good, you know, to be as open as possible, I think is, you know.
It's so important. But probably for every take I sent you, there was 10 I didn't send you. You know?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Just because they were unacceptable. It's just like, but here's the thing too, is like at the end of that project, you were like, you're amazing. I didn't have to auto-tune anything. And I was like, what do you mean? Like that was an option all along? You know, like I didn't know, you know, I thought,
but isn't that better?
I mean, the integrity of it all. Yeah. Awesome. But like, I'm glad I
could have saved you some stress.
No, but I can't even tell you how much better my intonation is after recording for the last 2 years. My voice teacher too. We've been working together for 20 years now, and she's like, your intonation is better than it's ever been in 20 years. Like what's, you know, it's all because of recording and listening back.
Yeah.
It's really valuable.
Well, we can't hear, you know, when we're performing, we have one sense of what is happening.
Yeah.
And it's very different when you know, have a recording. You can't lie to yourself. You can't have somebody else lie to you. Right. My piano teacher used to record me all the time and be like, Kristen, you're going like insanely fast. You got to slow this down. I'd be like, I'm not going fast. What are you talking about? And she would literally, like, with her little, like, cassette tape, stick it on the piano, record me. And it's like, it doesn't lie, you know? I was going fast. Yeah. And, you know, but it's like in our heads, we think, oh, I'm just feeling the music and I'm going here and there. And I think recording and listening back to ourselves is a fantastic way to learn.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And they tell you to do that with voice lessons and stuff, but like no one listens to their voice lesson because you don't want to hear it because that's where you make your ugliest sounds and an hour long and there's someone else on the tape like telling you why it was bad. So it's like get to the heart of it and making it part of your own process. For me, that was really just so incredible and something I never would have had that experience otherwise. Because I've recorded previously, but in a studio, like a Broadway cast album, whatever, and like you don't get to hear yourself before it's released. You hear it at the release party and you're like, oh, that's terrible. I hate my voice, you know? And
somebody else is making the decisions for you in that sense of like, I like this take instead of you being able to be as the creator. I actually want that take because it had more emotion and I don't mind, you know, I mean, whatever it is.
Yep. And mind blowing also, like you're talking about a multi-million-dollar project on those recordings and like not one person ever was like, so here's how you sing on a microphone. Like, have you ever sung on a microphone? No one? Okay, let's do some mic technique before we record. Like not one person.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Like, why is there, where did this come from that you're supposed to know how to deal with all this technology?
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, you know, with everything, everyone's just like, okay, we're on the clock. Let's go. Let's go. And it's like, you'd actually save yourself time and money if you took a moment to talk about, you know, technique and things. But
well, we have one Next Level Sound class with you, but now with this roundtable of the three of us, I'm thinking we need to do another one of like mic technique for singers.
Yeah.
Just putting it out there in the universe, because I do think is there a lot of, you know, I don't know, is that getting slept on a little bit, you know, or expected that you're just supposed to know it?
Yeah. Well, the mic is really, it's like another character, and it's not like a filter for your voice. It's like your collaborator in a way.
I love that.
And I know nothing really, so I'm very much learning. You know, I figured I've done a lot of cabaret work and jazz stuff and kind of just using my own ear on the fly. I play with the mic in ways like that. Like I know how to do dynamic shifts and like high notes, low notes, stuff like that. But it's different in the recording studio and every mic is different.
And did you run into issues with the particular room where you were starting to record? Have you moved spaces since you started because of that?
Yes, great question.
Yeah. So as Kristen knows, I built the Closet Under the Stairs recording studio in 2020. It was, it's now a historical landmark in Philadelphia. Just kidding. But you know, I did everything wrong and it looked cute, but I didn't know, for example, like about space behind the mic, like where the sound is traveling to. And so it's just like, great, we'll put up these cute foam tiles, like, you know, so I'm in this tiny little thing and you're like, why does it sound like you're underwater? Because you're in a closet under the stairs with foam tiles wrapped everything. That's why, sir. So, you know, I actually record, I joke that I live in my recording studio, but, you know, it's sort of is like that.
Don't we all?
Yeah, because I have a studio apartment where I'm sitting right now and like there's my bed and there's my piano. But I record here in Harlem in this apartment and it's a glorious space. It has an 11-foot ceiling and there's a wall like 12 feet away. But there's something about the setup in here that's really nice. I recorded my whole Christmas album here. Wonder and Joy, available worldwide.
Yes, nice. Wonder and Joy.
Hit album.
Wonder and Joy.
It charted. And yeah, it's a really nice setup in here. And I've also done some like live recording in here where I purposefully didn't cut out any of the background noise. I did a live meditations for piano and voice album, very cut. And and I opened the door to my garden, so you hear blue jays and cardinals and you hear sirens and you hear school children playing, and that's part of the soundscape of it. And I didn't cut or touch anything, and I didn't add reverb. I did nothing, and
Love
that was just like an exercise in vulnerability for me. And it's entirely improv also. So that was a cool experience. But yeah, I keep trying to like check off these experiences basically with recording. Like, okay, like after my debut album, which so many people helped on, Kristen being incredibly instrumental, not only writing, but like being with me on each part of the process and helping me along the way. I wanted to do something where I didn't get any help and that I didn't have anyone else write music. I didn't, so I went into this electronic world and I started like, I composed a little bit, I did piano, but that was kind of my first thing. Was like, okay, as an experiment, what's it like when you don't have any assistance and you do all this on your own? And I learned a lot through that. And then, it's been cool, but space is so important. And it's like, I've learned so much and I kind of like, I've done some demos for some stuff in really fancy studios recently, and I kind of miss being at home with my own mic and like, because I think I do my best work when no one's watching and no one's in the booth listening and whatever. And sometimes you need those extra ears, but yeah, it's a really cool experience recording at home.
I think that's part of the magic of home studios is that you just have this, you're not on the clock. It's not like, no, it's going to be another $300 for the next hour just for me to think, right?
Yeah.
And you can really be creative and really let down, how things sound, things, whatever it is, whatever instrument you're doing. I think it's like, that's the beauty of this is you have your own private moment to just try things, whereas I personally would be a lot less apt to switch up my chord progression or switch a part of the piece if I'm on the clock and I'm with people and they're looking and they might be like, oh my God, why did she play that F sharp? When it's like, I just can be like, wait, well, what if I just went here? What if I added this? Or, you have so much more freedom. And I think that can be the beauty of, finding, your home setup.
Yeah, and feeling safe emotionally to go to places because singing is so vulnerable.
Oh my God, so vulnerable.
I think specifically of my arrangement of Away in a Manger on my Christmas album, which is like such a hokey song. I've never cared about it at all, but I tapped into something personal in my family and it just like erupted into this song. And all of a sudden it's like one of my favorite things I've ever recorded because it's so deeply emotional to me.
It's dripping in emotion in that one.
Yeah. And it's like, it doesn't even sound like me. I'm like, I don't know who that was singing, but cool,
out of body experience.
Yeah, but it was deeply emotional in a way that like I wouldn't have been able to go there in a studio with 10 people watching in the booth.
Right.
And it was like 2 a.m. and I was fully naked, and you can't do that also in the studio. Yeah.
No. That's fun. Fun.
Yeah.
And to loop it back to what Natalia was saying about, getting in front of the mic and having this sort of like tense up moment.
Yes.
I think part of that is that, before us all having home studios and things like that, it was like you're at a studio. And I think part of that tense up becomes this part of, we're almost like trained, there's been so many years of doing things like that and going to studios that we kind of are like, oh, here it goes. Let me tense up. Let me get it out. That it's hard. It's part of your process. And we kind of have to do a little like work on like really being like, I don't have to stress. And even though but you know what I mean? It's kind of a learned experience for all of us because we've all just been on the clock in the studios doing stuff. And that's just how we've all grown up. And it'll be interesting to see, as the younger generations who this is their first entrance into studios, that maybe they don't experience that massive tense up because it's not like all of our memories of having people stare at us.
Are you telling me I have baggage?
Turns out we're all flawed.
I had a ton of luggage back there.
But like, look at Billie Eilish and Phineas, just like videos of them sitting on the bed in her room, and it's like, oh wow, that's so beautiful. And I could do that because I have a room and a bed to sit on too. And I don't have a brother who writes great songs like that. But I have to share also because what you're describing, that tense up thing, that happens in live performance going out on stage also. And something that I learned through the wisdom of my teacher is how to communicate with your body in those moments. And what you do is you acknowledge it and you say, hey, body, like, thanks so much for sending that signal that I'm in danger. You're right. And you're right to tense up because it does feel terrifying. But, you know, I've decided I'm okay. And I'm probably not going to die because it's a fight or flight response. So it's like telling yourself like, oh, yeah, you're right to think we're in danger, but it's totally cool. But thank you for those signals. And now let's move on. And it actually works just to do that. And because we all make that part of our process, it's like looking out for a recital as a kid,
right?
A piano recital. Like I have that same feeling stepping on stage at the Met now at 40 years old that I did going to play my piano recital in second grade.
Wow.
And it's part of my process. Be like, yeah, that's cool, kid. That was fun in elementary school, but like, you actually don't need to freak out anymore. You're all right. You've been doing this for a career for 19 years. Like, let's chill, you know?
Right.
And it's hard. It's really hard. But definitely the awareness of it is the first thing.
Yeah, I think mine comes from performing in orchestras and then doing like solo festivals on cello and everything like that. And knowing, and then having a really, really evil orchestra director in junior high and high school who would scream at us and basically blast a metronome into my ear through the PA system that was right next to my head. And so I'm a little traumatized. I think that's part of it. Now I'm understanding this. Thanks for this therapy. I really appreciate it. I'm understanding my the origins of my microphone freak out.
You know, it also helps because I've been on the other side of some abusive leaders like that, you know, directors, conductors, artistic directors. And it's like, I try to look at them and be like, oh, wow, that person's suffering so deeply because of the examples they had of leadership and how they suffer. Because it's always like trickle down, right? It's like,
of course,
it can all be traced back to like some asshole in the 14th century.
Yeah.
Named Frederick Handel or something. I don't know. But, you know, so yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, that teacher was mad they had to teach high school or whatever. You know what I mean? Like they wanted to be, And it's
well, there's a sense of like, if I suffer, you're going to suffer too. And that's how you get great. When it's just really not, it's an antiquated teaching aspect of like, well, because I had to get, you know, yelled at. Well, that's the only way you learn, you know, like, and it's just not, it's
and it's
gotta
honestly
be left.
Like it's all over because Gen Z came in and was like, enough of this fuckery, I'm done. And they don't take anything anymore. Like we have to learn from those kids because
it's just true. Like, we do.
Me? I pay you.
Yeah.
You know? How dare you? You know. So yeah.
We need that mindset.
They're not playing. They're like,
not.
No. Yeah. Like it's like an army of like genderless people with painted nails and they're running the world now and it's amazing.
Yes.
And I hope they hire us.
Respect your elders.
Yeah. Or like, let us just, you know, I don't know.
Let us come play.
Room. Yeah, yes. Please. We have ideas too.
So true.
Yeah.
And then I think I have the most important question of the day, really, which is, what is Ramona Singer really like?
Girl. Let me tell you about the hate mail I got in my DMs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so listen, I've never watched Housewives and she was really nice and we were
Natalia and I have watched them enough for you. It's just
okay. So we were like assigned as dates for opening night of Funny Girl and we had such a lovely time. Wonderful person. You know, we exchanged phone numbers. It was like a great night. But yeah. And her number is are you ready? No. 3. No, it's actually 212 housewife. That's
yes.
No, I got these hateful DMs. Like, it's so incredibly disappointing to see you hanging out with this person who is partying at Mar-a-Lago and is a supporter of Trump. And I was just like, okay, now, like, come on. Like I was at a Broadway opening.
Yeah, we got to see it for what it is. It's not like you're supporting her and all her thought process. It's you're at a Broadway opening. You're
who even knows? Like maybe she went to a dance party in Mar-a-Lago. She's not, we just gotta chill out a tiny bit. But
that's social media.
The wonderful thing that happened from that is I got so fed up by it all that I hired a personal assistant to handle my social media DMs from now on. So
nice.
Yeah.
Did you really?
I did, girl. I did. Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
Team Zachary James Incorporated.
Team Zachary James.
Yeah, it's good. It's been life-changing and a big part of it actually was like, I sat there and thought about it and I was like, are you really going to do this? This is ridiculous. And I was like, no, this is time consuming. And like, wouldn't you rather be sitting at your microphone, like recording covers of Drake than answering DMs? And I was like, yes, I would. And then I found someone within 5 minutes by ironically putting out an Instagram story about it. And and now here we are. I have time to do this podcast because I don't have to answer hateful DMs.
I think isn't that better psychologically for all of us? Like I don't think any human wants to sit there and respond to that. It's just, and it's gross. I was just at this wonderful meeting of creatives they're working on a new Broadway show that I'm attached to, which is super exciting. But one of them was talking about a peer of theirs, like a famous composer that has done a lot of film scores and stuff. And he was like, yeah, he retired. Well, he secretly retired, but he's not telling people, but he's still working. So he retired so he could do his work. Wow.
Yes. Yeah. And I was like, wow, what a dream. Like retire so you could work. Hell yeah.
Yes.
It's like, we're so lucky. We're in our field and we're doing what we love. But like with everything, there comes, stuff that you don't necessarily want to do. And we're not all we're expected to be good at everything now, right? Business and art and self-recording and all of it. Yeah. And it's just like, not everyone is. And yeah.
And you don't have to be. You shouldn't have to be,
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to be.
And there's a stress of if you have one hit, you're supposed to have 6 more hits. So I think the fact of like retiring takes a little bit of the pressure off of like, what are you writing? What are you doing? What are you writing? What are you doing? And all that kind of stress. If people are like, oh, he's retired, he's not doing anything. Imagine that weight off, like lifted off. Is probably huge.
Yeah. I mean, how many times has Bieber retired? Like,
we're all like the basketball players now where they all retire and then they come back.
I'm back. Yeah. Yeah. I'm seeking that life, but that's just to share a little more therapy with you. That's one of my biggest things of how doing this is I give myself permission to quit anytime. And I quit on a regular basis. Like I was at rehearsal at the Met the other day and I was standing there and I was like, not in a good place. And I was like, I quit. And I just took a deep breath and I chilled with it for a minute. And I waited until my heart and my mind could say, like, in a genuine way, like, no, I want to be here and I've decided to return to showbiz. And it took like 10 minutes, but like I quit for those 10 minutes and it was awesome. And I do that a lot. And
good for you for listening to yourself.
Hell yeah. Because your body's just like, what are you doing? This is crazy. Like, stop. It's been almost 20 years. Haven't you had enough? Like, go sit on a mountain, but then it's like, oh, but the people, they need entertainment,
We do.
Yeah. But for me, it's like that, that's how I speak. That's how I express myself. And I think here's the biggest takeaway. I told you about this, Kristen, but like the biggest takeaway for me at the Grammys, the thing that was like so deeply inspiring and emotional was looking around at that room of thousands of people and being like, whoa, we're all here because we love music the most. And like, as kids, we were the ones that we first truly expressed ourselves through music. Mm-hmm. And that's what we all have in common. And it's bigger than genre. It's just like, we were those weird kids that didn't know how to speak except through music. And that's what we made our passion. And it chose us, like music.
It was our language.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's for me why I keep doing it. It's just like, that's how I know how to be. It's like just a practice, a way of being now, And
I love it.
Yeah. Music.
And I love music so cool. And breaking down all the genres, I love all genre. Yes. Go music. But breaking down all the genres, and I think I'm also like, you know, I love that, you know, I feel like back in middle school, wasn't there a stress of having to like, you could only like one kind of music because otherwise you were like too wishy-washy or something.
No,
like, and it was so weird. And now it is not like that, thank goodness. But I feel like we can all learn from classical music, pop music, country music, I mean, whatever it is, hip hop, all this stuff, it all influences in such a beautiful way. And there's no reason to have to, you know, close anything out or have any disrespect for any of it. It's all hard in its own right. It's all, you know, I think our genres choose us a little bit and we have to explore, but it's like our voice. And I think it's, you know.
Yeah. I was playing Stars and Stripes Forever like John Philip Sousa marches on a glockenspiel in middle school. So it was a different experience. Getting beat up. That old glockenspiel.
Oh, glockenspiels.
It was a strap-on glockenspiel. You could march it. Yeah. But we didn't have a piccolo player, so I got that piccolo solo, and it was like, it made my life.
Ooh, nice.
Did you do the piccolo and the glockenspiel at the same time?
No, I couldn't play piccolo. But I did those 16th note runs.
Yes.
I hit it hard. I added stuff, you know. Yeah.
Little improv.
Always, because I look at rhythm and I'm like, I sort of know what that means, but I'm going to do my own thing. You know how I do.
Yes, do your own thing.
Oh.
Well, we'll wrap up, but we've kind of touched on it. But if we can, let's see, what would be 3 tips if a singer's listening and they know nothing about microphones and they want to get started? What is our like lasting 3 tips of even how to think about buying a microphone, using a microphone, anything? It can be anything.
You know, I got this mic because I heard someone else on it and I was like, ooh, I need that. And it's been so awesome. So
listening and looking for people, what they do, research on what they do for mics.
Yeah, and Google it. Like whatever you're specifically recording, Google it, because there's so many, you know, best mics of 2022. Or,
I know.
Recording banjo in your barn. You know, it's very specific out there in the web land. So that, you know, I still record on my iPhone too. Like when I'm out and about and I get a melody in my head or a poem or something, I just voice memo it. And I've made recordings where I use voice memos and I put it in and I mix it and it's beautiful.
Love it.
On my Halloween mixtape album, that hit.
Oh, I love that one.
It's actually one of my favorites. But there's Megan Nielsen, soprano, operatic soprano. She recorded a bunch of stuff on voice memos, and I layered it in, and it sounds like exquisite, like it was recorded at, you know, the Hollywood Bowl. It's so good.
Yes.
That's a voice memo from your iPhone, girl. But
yes.
Yeah.
Shout out to Megan.
So record in any way you can. You know, and listen to yourself with a friendly ear. And I think, like, you know, hard because we're hard on ourselves. And I would say the majority of people don't like the sound of their voice, both speaking and singing, but be gentle.
Be gentle. Well, thank you so much, Zach. This was amazing.
Delightful.
We greatly appreciate it.
Yes.
Check out Zach's class at Next Level Sound as well if you want more singing tips. You sort of gave us this fabulous masterclass crash course of demystifying the voice.
Yes,
demystifying.
Yes, Madame Cleo's voice workshop.
Yes. And maybe we'll do a mic one too. I feel like the mic is just, it's a hot topic.
And not the alternative fashion store at the mall.
No. I did get a lot of stuff at Hot Topic.
I got all my incense there.
I do have to confess. Yeah. They had really great skirts. I really was into the skirts. Skirt. They had the short skirts. That's where I went. I did get a lot of stuff there.
I got this vanilla cashmere incense there that
you did.
I wish I could get that again. Yeah. So.
All right. Cool. Well, thank you for all of your wisdom. This was a fabulous art, technology, and therapy session.
Yes.
That's important. Yes. Thank you.
Music is therapy. Music is therapy, people. Like it is therapy.
Is.
It's therapy for me. I think it's kept me going.
I honestly don't know if I'd be alive without music.
I wouldn't. I could say I wouldn't. I
definitely wouldn't be.
Yeah. So there we go.
There we go.
Done.
Saves lives.
Facts.
Love it.
Yep.
Another hand for music.
Music.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Tune in to our next podcasts and visit us on nextlevelsound.com.
Hell yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed this podcast. To learn more about our online music production classes, please visit nextlevelsound.com, home to the modern music producer.